All right. Are we recording? All right. I've been working out, but I didn't, you wear an oversized shirt to make it look like you're losing weight. Look at
Oh,
this.
is
I'm
that
down to
the
nothing.
trick? I didn't know that was the
Oh
trick.
my God. Could you imagine if you wore a triple XL sweatshirt? You'd look like a pixie.
That's hilarious. I'm going to start buying Triple XL. I mean, they've been sending me ads forever, so I might as well start buying their stuff.
Get a belt, size 48 belt. My God, look at this 9 loops I've got
Oh
over
my
here.
gosh. I'm wearing my moose pajamas because it's Friday. I've got moose. I don't know if you can
Well,
see
what else would you
moose
wear?
pajamas, everybody. Because it's snowing again. We're going to get another 6 inches of snow and I can't go anywhere. And I'm just going to wear my pajamas for a while.
6 inches. Did
What?
you know Paula wants to know all about how big my feet are?
I read that differently.
Really? I thought she wanted more foot information.
I read that differently. By the way, I'm Melinda McKinsey.
And I'm Tom Wise. Thanks for stopping by. We're unpacking some shit. We've got some hot topics.
Hot, hot, hot. Hit
What
me
if
with
you
what you got.
what if you never had the desire to eat again? You were never hungry
For food,
for food. You've got your other natural desires, but not for food.
you know, food is a lot of fun, and food is a big social gathering. I've had a tendency to love people with food. People always comment during the normal days when people could meet in person and come over to one another's homes. Remember those days?
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
I read about them in books.
yeah, I've seen photos of it and it looks like a lot of fun. And I like to overindulge in food. I know when I first heard this question, my first response was, no, how great. What a time saver. If you never have to worry about weight or food again, right? If your body stayed like fit and you never had to worry about food. But then the more I thought about, the more I got sad because I enjoy the experience of eating. I like it.
Well, think about it too. Think about if we were plopped in the planet not needing to eat, right? You whatever you needed, you got from the air.
Yeah.
Something. But think about how much of our lives are consumed, pardon the pun, with eating. Farmers, supermarkets,
Yeah.
restaurants, waitresses.
Right.
I mean, our economy is 50% revolving around eating.
Gotta be.
I mean, think about you drive down the street, how many Hungry Howies or Subway sandwiches or
Right.
mom and pops. I mean, it's a lot.
Yes. And the time we invest in going somewhere to eat, like it's a thing.
I mean, it's one of our main things. You got to shelter, eat, and eat.
So, have you ever met any of those people that say, I only eat to live? Like, they do that. They have the water pack on their back and they're sucking from the tube. Have you met any of those people that they only eat to live?
It's a sad existence.
I think so too. I think so
I
too.
mean, I don't consider myself a foodie. I
Yeah.
do consider myself, it's like, oh shit, I haven't eaten today.
Yeah.
I don't set my clock. I'm eating at noon, 3 and 7, or whatever the hell it is. I don't
Right.
think that's better or worse. I feel a little bit sad that I don't love food as much as other people.
Yeah.
But it's also nice not to have that distraction or burden. I've understood that some people, once they finish breakfast, they're planning lunch. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, that seems a little mentally distracting.
Yeah, that seems I will say I've noticed during the pandemic because I'm home all the time. I've noticed that I'm eating out of boredom, which is a problem.
Mm,
Because like late in the afternoon, I get a little restless and bored when I'm done with work. And then I start looking for food and then I have to stop myself and go, are you hungry?
right.
I'm not. I'm
It's
just
noom.
bored. I'm just bored.
Right. Well, that's why I drink a lot of water. I'm not, I mean, I can put on weight, but it's funny. I had a
One of those
picture. Here's a
people.
look at
Oh, I
picture.
really try. I'm
Look at
trying
picture of
to
me.
gain weight.
Look at
What's
old
this?
look at old hairy fat face.
Now, see, now was that the time when you told me about when you stayed in and you
Yeah, Tommy's about 3 there, so that's about 20 years ago. So I was in my early 40s. I put on 40 pounds almost overnight when I hit 40. I
and
went
that was
from
just because
180 because I got fired from home shopping. I went from
yeah.
180 to 220, and I think I maxed out at about 230.
And so what turned it around?
I was hiking in Sun Valley at 45 because
Okay.
Tina, my ex, grew up in California and she escaped to Idaho when she was 18. She says,
Okay.
I'm out of here. Crazy brother, crazy parents, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, crazy. Pencil me out. So she dips at 18, living in Sun Valley. So then I became familiar with Sun Valley. She had coral up there, and then she eventually moved back. Then it became a vacation spot for her and I.
Yeah.
It's stunning. Sun Valley is beautiful. So we were out there on a bike thing. It must have been had to be the end of September for whatever reason. I mean, we had very little time off together ever. I mean, we were both working, and the kids
Yeah.
were young. You know, kids were 5, 7. I think maybe grandmother covered us. And then
Okay.
oh my God, we got 6 days off. Let's head out to Sun Valley, right?
Nice.
So we're biking and everything, and we have they have the Baldy Hill climb. I'm saying, what the hell is this? She goes, well, it's they've been doing it here for 20 years. Where they before the ski season, I mean, Sun Valley is a big ski town, longest runs in the country. They have a hike or a race up the mountain. The
Okay.
locals, and they get 38 people, 57 people. It's not
Okay.
something massive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, shit, we got to do that.
Yeah.
I'm in town. So let's go do
How'd
that.
that go?
So we do it, and I am dead last.
Yeah.
The guy who wins this thing does it in 38 minutes.
Okay.
Almost 3 hours later, they're closing things down and they see us
Oh,
still on the mountain. Oh, come on
yeah.
up. So we're at the no way anybody could still be on the mountain.
Was it the altitude or what was that?
It was me being 230 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I said, all right, I'm coming back here every year. This will be
Sure.
my acid. This will be my checkpoint. I mean, I used
Okay.
to be somewhat athletic. We talked a little bit about cross
Yeah.
country in our last show.
A little bit. Yeah. Just a little.
So then I've been going. I probably in the last 15 years have gone 17 years, gone 15 times, 14
What's your
times.
best time for doing the climb? Do you
My
know?
best time is 17. No, it was 1 hour and 17 minutes.
Okay.
Worst time, almost 3 hours. These
Okay.
days I check in somewhere about an hour 30 to 40. I mean, that one time I was training my ass off.
Yeah.
It's hard to get
I'm
to an
sure.
hour. Very hard.
That's very good. So, like during these times when people are struggling with being lethargic or being closed in, what do you think? I mean, you said being that particular number motivated you, but what do you think turned in your head
Oh,
to
well, I
make
was
you go,
disgusted with myself. I said, you
okay,
were an athlete. You used to run and basketball, but when I hit 40 years old, I got fired. I started working out of my home,
yeah,
investing and
yeah,
that.
yeah,
The exercise just went to shit. I was wearing sweatpants.
yeah,
Like I said, I put on 40 pounds almost overnight. My metabolism slowed down. Just busy, nervous eating
yeah.
accelerated. And so when we did that, I go, yeah, that's it.
Did you lean towards, do you remember any particular food that became like your comfort food?
I've always been a chip guy. I
Oh,
sit around eating chips.
okay.
I remember when I was hosting at Home Shopping, I did the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. shift. So
Yes.
around 6:30, I'd be driving home. I, as my tradition was to stop in the 7-Eleven that was 2 blocks away from the house. I'd get a big bag of chips and French onion dip, and go home and watch cartoons, and then consume that, and then go to bed, and then sleep until 2, 3
That's
o'clock in the
hilarious.
afternoon. So about 2 months of this routine, I'm like, the old pants are getting tight.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
no shit.
funny.
You're eating 2,000 calories before you go to bed.
That
Maybe
is
probably more.
so funny. I have noticed during the pandemic, I've discovered toasted Cheez-Its. They're the Cheez-Its that are more cooked, so they're a little bit burnt. They're called toasted Cheez-Its. And I'm obsessed with them. So when I decide I need some, I have to take out a certain portion. Otherwise,
Oh, yeah. I'm like a lawnmower. Yeah, you could break the bucket couldn't be big enough to have at a popcorn at a movie. It's
yes.
like I'm on. All right, boom, challenge accepted.
Yeah. 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 So you're not a sweets guy then. You're a sauce
Oh
guy.
no. I am sweets.
Okay.
The one thing I usually don't eat, but I go on Jags is ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Here's the deal. I'm not gonna go out and buy a pie or a cake.
Oh,
See, I will not do that. But I'll buy candy.
aha. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I buy all of it. I buy candy and cakes and pies
Would you? When was the last time you bought a full size cake?
for my birthday in January.
So the answer is a month ago.
But I mean, it was for my birthday.
I get it. That's
In
wonderful.
real life, I don't typically order cakes, but I do order pies. I am a pie girl.
You'll
I
you
love
you'll buy a whole pie.
well, I've got 3 people living
See,
here.
there you go. There's other people that are such a great excuse for buying that stuff.
It's not just no, you're right. I love cherry pie. And so what I'll do is I'll have a slice and then I immediately think about I can't wait to have the next slice. And then I tell Alex and Will, please eat the pie because I can't stop. Please eat it.
Oh no, I had
Yeah.
uh, Tina and the girls made me my birthday cake, and then
Yes.
because I always want orange cake with lemon
Yes.
frosting. Everybody
Yes.
knows that.
Everybody knows about the orange cake. It's such a pain to make.
Uh, but it's the one thing I would to differentiate myself from the other kids as we were growing up. There were 8 kids in the family. Everybody wanted. It was like
Sure.
I just had let me get something that's different just for me. So I
Did you
created
get a
this.
special meal also as a child, or just it was just the cake?
You could get whatever you wanted if you
Okay.
had a hankering, but it was the cake. But so anyway, Tina and the girls made a cake for me at my last birthday, and then they wanted me to take it home. I go, no, no, no. I'm not going to take home a whole cake because I will eat a whole cake.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I'd come back 2 days later, because I'm checking on the girls. Oh, you still got
Oh,
cake
the
left.
cake.
Well, 2 weeks later, what was left of the cake ended up in the sink, right? But it wasn't. Nobody spritzed it. Nobody brushed it off. It was on the plate in the sink.
Okay.
I'm going, what madman put this in the sink? I grabbed a fork, grabbed that plate, and it was gone. Sink cake.
Love seed cake. Well, I wanted a cherry pie like last week, and so groceries are not. You can't always get what you want. We have it delivered, right? And so they didn't have cherry pie, but I found a great substitute, which I could never order again because all I did was eat it until it was gone.
Let me
Which
tell you,
was what?
strawberry rhubarb.
Oh, I love strawberry rhubarb, but no. Um, think of something that just is so bad for you, has so many calories. So of course I'm going to order it.
You know what I haven't had in years that I absolutely love
What?
is a banana cream pie.
Oh, those are so
But
good.
it's got to be good whipped topping. It
Fresh
can't
and
be
all
something
that.
that's frozen and
The meringue. Do you like the meringue
yeah,
on it?
lemon meringue pie.
Ooh. Well, I made the mistake of ordering a freshly made cheesecake.
Wow.
And then, oh no, it gets worse.
Oh, it can't get worse. I mean, that's 500 calories a spoonful.
I know. But then I also thought, well, I don't want just plain cheesecake. So I had Alex order one of those cans of cherries with all of the cherry pie filling,
I think it's
right?
called compote. Am I correct, Your
I
Honor?
I I don't know. All I know is it's called wrong and bad for you.
Wow.
Because all I did was as soon as the day it arrived, I'm like, here we go, cut the cheesecake, put the cherries. And I was like, I'm having that for breakfast tomorrow. So then I started the day with cheesecake. And then all day I felt guilty, right? Because I'm like, oh, I've started the day with cheesecake. And I finally got to the point where I said, please someone eat this because
Help me.
please help me.
It's crazy. I go to my old house, Tina
Yes.
and the Tommy and the kids and stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's Halloween candy around Christmas.
How?
There's sink cake. I go,
How?
I'd be done with that in an hour.
Yeah.
Halloween wouldn't see November.
Well, it's a good thing you're living with Mr. Vegetarian because what does he leave out? Does he leave out fresh rhubarb? Like what's going on there in the kitchen?
Yesterday he made acorn squash, stuffed acorn squash.
Of course he did. I'm sure it was fabulous.
It's amazing. And then he's, beans and this, it's all healthy stuff.
Who
I mean,
has
he
the time?
doesn't even
That's
eat
a lot.
cheese. You saw that soup he made?
Well, speaking of soup, like when I was asking you about the family thing for your birthday, our mom would like fix us whatever we wanted. And I was obsessed with my mom's homemade potato soup. I love
Oh,
homemade potato soup. So even as an adult, she would always laugh, like, what do you want? And I'm like, potato soup, man. Nothing beats
you
something
call
you
your
have.
mom man, ma'am, or dude? Man or dude?
Who, my mom?
Yeah, potato soup, man, or is it potato
Oh,
soup, dude?
oh, I don't know the proper way to say it because I was in my delirium thinking about the soup.
Sorry.
Um, yeah. So to go back to the original question, apparently I can't give up eating. It's a thing. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting that I would change our whole economy first of all, and then
Yeah.
yeah, it's such a social thing, and it's I mean our lives revolve around literally revolve around eating, looking for
Yeah.
food, making food, planning
Thinking about
food.
food. But think of the money you would save.
But if I agree, but I tell you though, it's the eating that makes people work.
I look forward to meals. I look forward to particular items of food. So yeah, I'm not one of those people
Yeah.
at all. Okay, so here's some of my categories. Dick move. What would you do? Live like an Italian. Why God, why? But before we do any of those, we need to talk about the fact that we landed on Mars
I
yesterday.
saw that.
Do you feel like it was a big enough deal? I feel like it wasn't. I mean, I
Well,
think it's a big deal, but
I
I
mean,
feel like
we've been on Mars. I mean, we've landed on Mars in the past, but this is a vehicle we landed there.
this, yeah, it's a big deal, right? They're going to take samples. We were watching video. I feel like it took 8 years.
Now, was
I
it eight
thought,
years?
I thought,
I know Obama launched it.
I feel like they said 8 years, and then it's a 2.7 billion robotic explorer named Perseverance.
I hang on. I think President Obama signed off on it. I think it launched during Trump's. I don't think it's 8 years. I think it's.
Really? Okay, well, I'll
I'd like
research.
to look at. Weren't you going to look into something else too?
Oh, probably, Tom. I'd have to look at all my
You were going to
notes.
look. Oh, you were going to look into
Vibrating?
vibrators, the origin of vibrators.
Oh, that's right.
It's funny. I was listening to some of our old shows. I don't want to get. You do a lot of work, but it's like, she said, "Oh, I'll send you. Say I'll send you the link on that."
No,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, when we hang up, we're done, man. What was I going to send you? I have sent you some things. I try not to bombard you
Of
during our
course.
off time.
I know.
It was probably something really good, then I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, dude. Well, I want to just briefly, I don't want to get all political, but can we briefly talk about the dick move with Ted Cruz?
Ted has to get. He doesn't like being cold. Okay.
He said he's changed his story a few times, but he said he was just dropping off his daughters. He just was going to go and drop them off and then come back. But what did him in was the text messages. Someone turned in his wife because she was texting her friend saying, it's cold, we're getting out of here. And it made people mad. And they said, we're turning your ass in.
Every man would say, "Fine, you and the kids, you've got resources. Get the hell out." No one's
Go.
gonna. No one's gonna fault you for sending your family to Cancun. No one's gonna fault you. It's weak of her to say, I'm standing by you. We're gonna tough this out. Let's be an example to the citizens.
As someone that's involved in leadership and someone who is part of a political party, isn't that part of your responsibility as the
Absolutely,
wife?
absolutely. So
Sorry.
you're telling your constituents, "Hey, you don't need me. There you
No,
go. We
no,
don't need you."
we're just going to go. So what do you think the fallout's going to be? Because of course now people are drawing party lines and making a big deal, but we all know.
If I was a Republican, I'd be pissed too. But those guys don't apparently ever want to get pissed at anybody that's Republican. So that's on you. It's your shitty effed up party. If that's how you want Ted Cruz, I can have him. Have him.
Yes, I feel like the Republicans have really had a lot of lights shown on them
Yeah.
lately, and it's not been good.
You want QAnon folks in your party?
Okay.
Have them. You want a guy that wants to kill, you know, Congress? Hey, he's
All
yours.
right.
Good luck with that.
Okay.
Because thank God most of the country doesn't want to put up with that bullshit. So if that's going to be
Yeah.
the planks in your platform, crazy people, guys that take off during emergencies, and guys that start storming the castle. Good luck,
Okay.
because Americans proved we're not putting up with that bullshit.
No.
Texas is going to go blue, Florida's going blue, and you'll never see another Republican president for 12 years.
Right. Someone posted yesterday, Ted Cruz made the mistake of sending a tweet commemorating Rush Limbaugh while he was in is it Cancun?
Cocoon.
Like that movie.
No,
But what's the proper way? I don't know.
I think us Americans say Cancun.
But is that okay? So anyway, when he was in Mexico, he sent a tweet commemorating Limbaugh, and someone said, if that is not the most GOP thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, let's just leave that there.
Fat old whitey congratulating fat old whitey
Peter.
while he's abandoning his post.
Yeah. So I thought that was a dick move.
I mean, isn't that always? Maybe as a man, I'm more aware of this, but the old adage, a general wouldn't ask his troops to do something that he wouldn't do himself.
Wow.
I mean, that's kind of like something that really rings true for, guys that are in sports or military, whatever. It's like, I'm not going to ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself. Now, there's situations that, you've got situations where, you're going to send 20,000 troops into France on D-Day. You pretty much know 13,000 aren't going to make it see the next day. So we understand that. But as far as taking a risk or being an example of how to live through hard times, it's like, you don't want your general dipping out when things, hey, it looks like it's getting a little bombshelly around here. I'm going to dip out.
Well, and then when you get caught to lie, I mean, it's bad enough.
It's well, because it's the ego. They think they deserve it, and they're better than you. And you listen to Ted Cruz; he's just a fucking lying machine.
No, he really is. So
lies per minute.
I'm curious about the fallout. So that was the dick move story.
Let me just say this: he thinks that this is his path to the presidency. He wants to be president.
Forget it. It's done. It's done. Please. I don't think so. Please take Ted Cruz, please. I mean, I still have a few lovers of Trump on my social media, and it's always been interesting to me. They lift up Ted Cruz. They love Ted Cruz. I've had family members say how much they're so sad that Rush Limbaugh died. And I'm so proud of me being silent on that, because there's no advantage. I'm not happy anybody dies, but I am happy that stops some hate flowing in the world.
Well, somebody said on Facebook, it's like, well, if you're hating on Rush Limbaugh dying, you're just as bad as he is. I'm going, really? So if I enjoyed Hitler being dead, I'm just as bad as Hitler? Is that your analogy?
That's a weak fucking argument.
It just because you say it doesn't make it true. No, I'm not as bad as Rush Limbaugh. I'm glad that he's dead.
Weak. I think that's the same weak argument that people that are fighting for the Republican Party, just based on the fact that Republican Party is saying, look, we need to get along now. You need to forget this other stuff. And you didn't want to get along before. No, that's a weak argument, not falling for it.
No, you wouldn't train and raise your kids like that.
You would hope not.
No, well, you would address the situation. If the kid did something wrong, address the situation, mete out a punishment, and then, okay, let's just compartmentalize that event. And, you've handled this. You've taken responsibility. You've made amends. You fixed the window. You said you're sorry. And we're going to forget about it. We're not going to bring this up every time we have a discussion. We're putting it over here. That's a life lesson. We all grow. We apologize. We move on, make amends. Just like a guy who went to jail for whatever, for stealing a car. He can't wear that forever. He's going to do his 2 years in jail. He's coming out. He's paid we call that paying your dues to society. But you got to pay your dues. We just can't bring you back in because no one's learned anything then.
That's right. Yeah. And I think we're seeing a lot of that. I think it's fascinating that we're seeing finally a lot of the hypocrisy that's going on. And then listen, Ted Cruz, you went to Mexico. You shouldn't have. You should have owned your shit immediately, because people would have fallen all over him.
Let me just say, you know what? These guys are so stupid because this becomes a moment. Ted Cruz gets in front of the cameras. Guess what? I screwed up. My desire to protect my family overrid my desire to do what was politically correct. Of course, I need to be here in Texas. Of
Yeah.
course, I need to make sure everything's running smoothly. Forgive me, please. I apologize. I felt,
Yep.
because I have the means. I can
Yep.
buy a ticket. I can get out,
Yep.
unlike most folks, but I screwed up. My God, that would have been huge for him.
Yep. Nope. Couldn't do it. I think
Even
that's
I
a
would
sign
have
of a
said,
poor
you know what?
leader.
Yeah,
Can't
maybe
do
I
it.
am. Maybe Cruz is a guy.
Yeah. No, I really, I hope that the fallout is real and hard and swift.
Why doesn't everybody run things by me?
Tom, I think that's a big mistake. I think that the more people are enlightened, the more they will listen to you.
But you know
I
what?
know.
It's this no apology tour that people think that they can't get away from it, and that makes them weak. I don't think
Yes.
anybody, man or woman, looks at a man apologizing and says they're weak. I mean,
No.
apparently, in the Japanese culture, they apologize and usually they quit. I mean,
Yes.
I how do you feel about who's that guy, the Minnesota senator who they unearthed the 20-year-old picture where he's pretending to touch a woman's breasts on a USO tour? Remember
Oh,
that?
I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the guy that used to be on Saturday Night Live, who became a senator,
Al
Al
Franken.
Franken. Right.
Yes, I
So
do know
Al
about this.
apologizes and then he quits. Right. It's like it wasn't that it was a childish sophomoric thing, but it
Yes.
wasn't like on a
I don't
scale
think,
from 1 to 10,
yeah,
it's a
you're right.
2, it's a 3.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anybody. He didn't steal. He didn't inside trade and make $1 million on some pipeline information he had. He was stupid, but he was
Yeah.
also 32 years old.
Yeah.
Not a kid,
Right.
but it wasn't horrific.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see it. It appears that we've got a lot going on in the world with the bad weather in Texas. We've got a lot of climate change issues that are going on. We're still dealing with the pandemic. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of leadership flows to the top during this time and what we accept and what we don't, because we're all paying attention now. When has the world ever all been in the same place at the same time?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's interesting. That's another thing I wanted to talk about with the whole, did you hear Biden talk this morning with the when they were doing the NATO stuff? He had a live, well, they were doing it remotely. So they were talking about the NATO alliance and everything was remote because it's the pandemic. And so what I wanted to ask you was, this is under my why God why.
Yes.
They said we're doing this remotely because of the pandemic. So they said it, so we know that's why they're doing it remotely. At the same time, the CDC is recommending that all children go back to school because it's safe. So are those two different things? My question is, I don't understand. It seems like they're pushing kids
Yeah.
back to school because of financial reasons, not because it's safe.
It's a very interesting thing. Clearly, I say clearly, I'm going to guess it's not 100% safe. I'm going to guess some kids are going to get sick. I'm going to guess some teachers are going to get sick. I wish they would come out and say that. And they said, because the fact that we all have cars, we accept that risk in our society. We're going to kill 300 people a day driving cars. People get hit on railroad crossings every day.
Yeah.
There's 300 trains that hit a car. There'll be a car that gets hit by a train today. So somebody has to say, it's a numbers game. It's a risk assessment. If we don't have our kids back in the school, they're becoming depressed. There's no socialization. We're losing a lot, versus we know somebody's going to get sick, but we think for kids and for young teachers that we've got now medicines and treatments that would keep someone from being dead or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Most of the people that are dying are in their 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. So that's the bulk. That's 80%.
Yeah.
So I'm saying risk assessment. schools, we're going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, people have been playing football. I mean, they've been interacting with sports in schools. Kids
Yeah.
need to go to school. Is it ever going to be 100%? No, but they need to come out and say that. So it's, you know what? We're comfortable sending kids. Yes, a couple of kids are going to get sick, but we have protocols now. We didn't have protocols a year and a half ago, a year ago. So
Right.
teachers are going to get sick. Yeah, but we got protocols. We feel for the greater good of our society, we need to get schools back. Is there a risk? Yes, but we can mitigate the risk with shots and treatments.
Yeah. And I hear you. I guess for me, that the
Vote
thing
for
I'm
me in 2024.
the thing I'm struggling with is I feel like the people that are on the lower rungs of socioeconomics
Yes.
are really getting hit hard because they're not being protected. And I get a NATO alliance. They want to, these people are leaders, they're making decisions, they
They're
should be
old
protected.
people. These are the old guys. Joe's
And they're
seven.
old,
Yep.
but the kids that are going to school have grandparents and bus drivers and people that are older. So I just don't understand, why aren't we thinking out of the box? I feel like we're looking at it like, oh, school's always been this way, we should always do it this way. Why aren't we thinking out of the box, find a way to safely teach them remotely, and then have other social ways that they can choose if they want to
Oh,
get
I
together?
agree, but maybe if you had a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, how the hell would you work if you happen to be home with the kids all day?
I don't know.
I mean, our society's set up. We're gonna take your kids from 9 o'clock, from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock. You go out and make a living.
Yes. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, yes, it's hard.
I don't know. I
It,
mean, I just feel like we're we're thinking in such a small little box of how to fix things. What if we got thinkers from around the world to figure out the bigger picture of how in the future we handle education and children and moving forward in the world? Because I feel like there's,
I'm for a think tank, but
right?
how much time?
I don't
Clock's
know.
ticking, as they say in China. The clock is ticking.
Dude, man, you gotta quit doing that. Is not acceptable. It's not. Let's change the subject. Hey, speaking of masks, how many different kinds of masks do you have? What do you wear? What is your fallback mask? Cloth?
These just came out of the laundry.
Yes. They're
A neighbor's daughter made this for me
made
way
them.
back last March.
Okay.
This is Patrick's. He loaned it to me. He didn't know I have it. Doesn't know I
Don't tell him.
I've got another one upstairs that my daughter gave me.
Okay.
And then I got a couple of disposables floating around as well.
Okay. Because obviously, as we're learning, we're hearing different information about what's good, what's right. So because we've been sheltering at home, we've had a lot of time to obsess over masks. It's become a compulsion. Now, I have a fun mask here I set out so I'd remember. This is a mask my friend sent me. I don't know if you can see it.
I have a donut in here.
Yeah, which is great because my friends are funny. I have a donut in here. Then I had another friend make me a bunch of great masks out of they've got the little wire to put over the nose. So they're fun and they're funny. Then we
I
started
like that.
buying, right? It's really cool. Then we started buying the N95s. We've got the N95s because they're saying you need the N95s. At the beginning, we did these. Did you ever do these? These are the
I heard that those were least effective.
yes, we did these in the beginning, and then we heard they were least effective. So then we had to go, well, we're not doing those. We also have,
When you say we, is it you and your pie eating group?
what about my pie eating group?
Is that the we in your, is that the group when you're saying we did this, we did this?
When I say we, it's just my made up world of people.
Oh, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, my made up world of people. We have these. I also have a hard shelled mask that I bought that's hard shelled that goes over your head around the ears that covers. So when I've gone out, I've worn two fabric masks and then the shield because I'm at home all the time. So when I go out in the world, it feels weird and scary to me. So I'm just curious where everybody's at on the mask thing because I feel like it's changed a lot. And right now, the last I heard was to wear two fabric masks. Is that what you know?
Well, they're saying that get an N95 worked in there somewhere. I don't know. You know what? I rarely go inside except I'm shopping for food, and I wear a mask. Try to keep distant. but I will go out to a restaurant and sit outside.
When you go shopping for food, how is it in there? Everybody's masked up?
Everybody's messed up. It's a very interesting thing because I'm looking at numbers. The numbers for Florida and the numbers for New York are pretty. We're all Florida's not going completely south as was predicted because
Okay.
Florida doesn't have a mask mandate. But I say this, yeah, the government doesn't give you a mask mandate, but Walmart does and Publix does, and every
Okay.
place you want to go inside, they've got individual mask mandates. They're
Okay.
having problems with restaurants complying. These restaurants guys, they just want to go pile onto the bar. They want to get,
Yeah.
pack them in.
Yeah, we had an issue with a restaurant. I hope I didn't tell you this. Did I mention about the girl that was working at a restaurant here in New York and everybody's getting the shots, they're allowing now people at restaurants to get the shots and she didn't get the shot yet. She told her boss, I'm still researching how it affects your fertility because I want to get pregnant. And so they fired her. So now the controversy is, can you fire people because they're not taking, what do we do with all that?
There's never a nuance in your stories.
Nope.
I'm thinking about getting pregnant. You're fired.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How I think it's unfortunate because let's say you own a restaurant and you're worried and you've got this woman working for you. Could you not find another job for her? Could you not say, you know what, while you're working out this shot issue, maybe you wash the dishes for a while and you don't deal with, I don't know. You tell me. Because now it's in the news. Now it's a big controversy. Like you can't fire people because they haven't gotten the shot.
No, you can't fire somebody. That's why I would like to see the story.
I just told you the story. You know what? I'll send you the link.
Another pile that one onto the other pile of promises.
I'll send you the link to this story. Yeah, it just happened. It was in the news yesterday.
I just find that ridiculous. The guy who has got a waitress who he's been working with, she says she wants to get pregnant. Seems so cold.
Well, yes, that's the whole point of the story, that it's very cold. And what
it seems like the story's been massaged to make it look black and white.
Why do you think the story's been massaged? Because it's about a woman?
No, it's just like what kind of owner of a restaurant would just fire somebody for not taking the shot?
An owner who is afraid because he's lost so much business that he can't afford for rumors to go around that he has an employee that hasn't had a shot.
97% of the country hasn't had a shot.
I know that, but she apparently complained about it. Her friends started talking about it. She tweeted, it's now in the news and it is very black and white. He said, you're out of here. I'm not.
Well, then he's an asshole. There, I've said it.
There, fine. This is all I wanted from you, Tom. Good Lord. I'm exhausted.
That's a dick move. We should have a sounder.
That is we do need a sound. Can you have to create a sound for that's a dick move?
That's a dick move. You know what? I need to get a mask that has some happy phrase on it because I think I don't think of myself this way, but I'm a little intimidated. I think I'm probably a foot taller than the cashier. And I'm like, and I see my humor tends to be a little dry.
Yes.
I'll come up and I'll say something like, you call this a box of Wheaties? I'm just effing around. She doesn't know. And there's no smile. It's just a black mask.
See through one. My sister had one made for me. She took a picture of my smile and had it superimposed on a mask. So when you're walking around,
that's freaking people out.
It is freaking people out.
I'm just going to do. I'm just going to cut a hole here so people could see my mouth and see my smile and see, I'm just kidding.
See, that's the smart way. Remember at the very beginning, they had a video of a woman that did the same thing. She cut a hole in the mask. When she went to buy something, they said, oh, there's a hole in your mask. And she said, oh, I know, I couldn't breathe. And so he got a hole like, I think America is showing the rest of the world who we really are. And it's not pretty. We're not shining bright right now, America.
Amen.
All right. So, all right. So I wanted to briefly talk about living like an Italian. And the reason I brought this up is when you think of living like an Italian, what comes to mind? How do you think?
Okay. Living like an Italian.
Yes.
A lot is food centric. It's family. Food centric. It's a lot of olives.
Oh,
It's a gregariously, a lot of yelling.
okay.
Could be some hitting.
I wonder what would Italians say about us to look like,
Oh, hey, get out of here. Wrong.
hey,
Hey, what's going on? Hey,
go
what's the
get me
matter
some more
you?
olives. I wonder what Italians think about how Americans live. I think right now, if you would ask them, it probably wouldn't be great, right? It probably wouldn't be very like, oh, I think you people are lovely. You love each other.
I think
You're
people are
so
looking at
kind.
us like we're crazy. What? So what's the answer?
So the reason I looked this up is because I was looking up different lifestyles around the world and how people are surviving during the pandemic. And that one, okay, there's several things. The first thing that came up was that Italy has zero Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts in Milan because they want to have everything local, which I think is brilliant and I love it. And, we're not really known that way, but Italians are known for their Mediterranean diet. And even though Americans associate pasta with being overweight and not good for you, Italians, this is so fascinating to me. Italians eat pasta on average 3 times a week. It's a normal part of their diet, and they're not known for being overweight. Guess why Americans associate pasta with being fat and Italians don't? Why do you think that
Well,
is?
it's portion size.
It's portion size. We're crazy about big fat portions here in America.
You get a pile of food on your plate and 3 big
Yes.
meatballs.
They said on average, Italians only use about 3 ounces of pasta and they use it as a little appetizer before their meal. What do we do with pasta?
Pile it high. Plus, if you go to a restaurant, it's like there's a value associated with a pile of pasta versus just a small bowl or whatever.
Yes,
It's
which is funny to me that we think more is more. But they also use a lot of olive oil. I think you mentioned that in your thing. And they were talking about how olive oil is believed to lower depression. Did you know that? To lower depression and osteoporosis, and it protects your brain from Alzheimer's.
really, I
Isn't
like
that
that.
fascinating?
You
I
know,
think
I remember reading a study of a group that came from, I think it was from Italy.
the
They ended
blue
up
zone. It's the blue zone.
the blue zone, was it right?
Yes.
And then these people were eating the way you're describing,
Yes.
pasta, this and that, but they're living a long time.
Yes, they
They were like,
all were living, it was normal for them to live over 100 and they were happy
right.
and healthy.
And do you
And
know
they
what the
said,
reason was?
yes. So I watched a documentary about the blue zone and they went to study these people. It was a combination of, yes, of course, their diet was very important and they did have a lot of olive oil, was the Mediterranean diet, lots of fresh fruits and vegetables every day, fresh, and that they had a community life. So they knew people in their community and they were outside and they did a lot of local walking.
Yes.
So they
A
were
lot of
active.
yes, a lot of community was they thought was the key. Nobody was on the cut adrift.
I love the idea. I've been talking lately to my friends about communal living. I think down the road, I'd be very happy with doing some kind of a communal living in maybe a warmer climate where you still have your private space, but you have that accessibility to a group of people maybe you feel comfortable with, where you have like a shared living quarters, a shared kitchen, a shared outdoor space.
It's funny how often that conversation comes in. I've had it with multiple people.
And other countries do it. Many years ago, I got fascinated with Norway because Norway does a lot of communal living, and they started um, doing this thing where they were promoting people that didn't know each other to apply to see which groups fit better. And they started to recognize that you don't have to be the same age group or the same ethnicity. They started mixing people together that had the same like philosophies and the same kind of openness to change. And so there was the one in particular that they followed was, there was an older woman that was divorced that never had kids, there was a young couple with kids, there was a young college student, and they talked about how great it was for them because they still had their privacy, so they weren't put upon. People need their private downtime, but they had shared resources. They
Right.
shared gardening. They
Right.
shared cleaning areas. And I thought, I love that idea that you could get mixed with a group of people that maybe you didn't know before, but that you could be constantly learning from.
I
I think
agree.
that's fun.
No, it's very interesting because, the woman that didn't have any children now is around children. The teenager can see how to be respectful towards a grandfather or a grandmother type figure,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
the couple might be, hey, can you give me a hand moving stuff? So everybody's, helping out.
Which I really love. And the other thing about living like an Italian, which feeds into this, is that they said Italians typically eat family style. They put all the food out and then you all share, which is
Right.
we don't do that
No, there's
because
a
we
lot of
need the biggest
fork
pile.
jabbing.
we need the we need the biggest pile of whatever we can have, whatever. I'm sure there's I don't know
So here's the takeaway is we're horrible.
we have potential. You know what? For me, the takeaway is we fall into habits and patterns we don't know why. We're not paying attention to why we do what we
Well,
do.
it's funny. I think that I don't want to interrupt, but it's like we all thought our goal was to have our own separate little spaces. And
Yes.
now it's like, no, 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 that's not a good thing. We need to be more communal.
Yes.
We're all cavemen living in the caves. There's, three families in a cave.
Yeah.
We could all get along. Oh no, I got to get my own space. I got to get my own cave.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that mostly very American? Because it seems like other countries, their families do stay very close
Yeah.
together.
No.
I mean,
I,
I did read now in the United States, it's I think it's 52% of adult kids live with their parents because of our economics and different
right.
things, that it's more normal for
It's
the adult kids to stay.
it's got to be an interesting dynamic in the fact that you do have that where there's an inability to develop and have a healthy. I'm leaving the nest. I'm moving on to whatever my next adventure is, and it's also like the fact is that 76% of people have never moved 12 miles away from where they were born in this country.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so we kind of like honor
Yeah.
and admire the adventurers, but maybe the people that are living with their, because I knew a family, the Kaepernicks up in Chicago,
Okay.
cousins across the street, uncle down the road.
Yeah.
The parties would be 50 people because they're all lived in the same
Yeah.
oversized community. There was a mom who had 12 kids, back in 19 in the
Sure.
1900s, and those kids had kids, and they all stayed in the area.
Yeah.
The one guy was a local banker, the other guy was, worked at a butcher shop. It was very interesting, and I mean, there were 50 relatives in a
That's
small,
nice.
relatively small space.
That's I love the idea of it. I grew up in a military family, so I don't know what that's like because we were always
Yeah,
gone. And I think that's why I've moved a lot, because I'm very comfortable with just like leaving a space. I don't
yeah,
feel obligated to stay in a certain
right.
community, you
I mean,
know?
they had that classic where there was one family where the uncle was younger than the nephew.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the families that spread out.
That stuff happens. Did you hear what happened to Citibank with the financial mistake where they gave Revlon too much money, and because of a law, Revlon was able to keep it. It was a $50 million mistake. So
Wow.
check this out. This goes under what would you do category. There was a story, and I'm sure you've heard these stories, where banks have accidentally given people money. The people spend it, and then the people get in trouble because it's like, hey, it's not your money, right?
Right.
We've read those stories. So when I saw this from Citibank, they said it's the biggest banking blunder in banking history. That Revlon had a loan with Citibank, and it was about paying the loan back. They were supposed to pay back $8 million in interest payments back to Revlon. For whatever reason, they paid back $50 million. And when they discovered the mistake the next day, it took the next day to discover it. Imagine, I don't know if it was a team of people or one person. When they discovered it, Revlon said, oh, no, I think we're going to keep that money. So they started investigating because Revlon knew what they were doing. They found out there is a law that says it's called the discharge for value defense. The discharge for value defense, which is you're entitled to the money if you didn't know that that was the wrong amount, and that it was an accident on your part by keeping it. What? It sounds to me like another manipulation where a big company goes, oh, wait a minute.
That's
Because
crazy.
no person in history has been able to keep money that a bank has accidentally sent. That's an accident. It says they were entitled to it because they were supposed to get $8 million back in overpayment and interest, but there's a big gap between 8 million and 50 million.
It's almost $10 million difference. You say big gap, but I don't, how can you know what the gap is exactly?
So isn't that fascinating that companies can get attorneys that say, oh, we have something called a discharge for value defense.
That's crazy.
And Revlon was able to keep the money. Now they said they're still going to fight it, but do you think someone lost their job over this?
Yeah, I'm sure of it. And I'm sure someone else got a big promotion.
Because here's the thing. We all know if $1 million was dropped in our account, our first response would be, how do I keep this? And then the second response is probably, I know I can't.
Well, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I got that check. I forgot what the amount was.
Remind me.
About 6 months ago, I got a check from an old vendor for what was it, for like $1,800 or $2,200? It wasn't nothing.
It was a lot more. I thought it was like 13,000 or something.
Nah, I don't think it was that many thousands. 3,000 maybe, but it wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
It wasn't $110. It was a purchase order being paid that they said here, whatever.
Yes.
But I returned that money.
Yes. Well, because I don't know about most people, but I know I wouldn't be able to live with the fear of when that's going to come back to bite me. Yeah.
There's a point though where the money would be, what if it was 3 million? Would I take the money and just cash out and just go and dip?
Go? You could disappear with 3 million for
sure. That's a good number. It's an interesting, it's an odd dynamic, especially with women. I'm going to flip this a little bit, the script.
Okay.
So if somebody comes up to you and says, all right, hey, for $1, would you pull up your top and I'm going to take a picture of your boobs? Okay. Right. You're going to say no. Right. For $10 million, would you do that?
Yeah.
See, it's crazy.
Yeah. But 10 million?
So there's a number at which we all become, outlaws.
Yes. Yes.
I talked to a woman, she said somebody offered her $25,000 to let him take a video of her peeing in a field.
I don't think I could do that.
$25,000.
I feel like if I was dead broke, maybe, but I just feel like that's something a little bit different than showing your boobs.
$25,000.
Huh?
$25,000.
I don't know, man. I just don't know about peeing in a field. Can you see your face?
I'm sorry.
Can you see the face? Can you do it without
seeing They negotiated no face.
I mean, yeah, there was no face. Yeah.
Anyway, she said no, she didn't do it.
Why? Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, you've got your personal line of self-respect.
$25,000 to pee in a field.
All right, Daddy's got to go to work.
We're just getting into peeing in the field and we've got to go. I can't believe it. Okay, I want to finish with, I've been obsessed with topics. So I would like to talk to our listening audience and do a topic called Answer Me This. And I would like for them to send us questions so we can answer them. Answer me this. So that's my request for our listening audience. Please submit.
No one's doing shit. No one's participating. No one's sending you a tweet. Nothing's
going to happen because it's a pandemic and we have a lot of.
Paula is just a sponge.
You have to stop me from eating all the food. I need projects. So
all right, we're going to do that improv thing next week.
Yes, we're going to do improv.
We're changing things up. We're going to get a guest. Davis is back. We're going to bring Pat back in. We're bringing the old group back together.
Patrick needs to come back with 2 truths and a lie. Mm-hmm. So we'll do all that. Do you have a tip for us before we say goodbye?
Hang on. Someone wants to see a picture. Well, you know what? I came up with a tip today.
Yes. What are you doing?
I'm taking a picture. I did come up with a tip. Fuck. Always write down your ideas. There's your tip.
I like it. Always write down your ideas, guys. I'm Melinda McKinsey.
I'm Tom Wise. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Ooh, blah, 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 blah. That's another one in the can. Thanks for stopping by and unpacking some shit
That's right.
with me and the lovely Melinda. And please send her an idea. I know you're not going to. But what was the idea again you wanted?
It's called Answer Me This.
And so what should they submit?
Any questions they have, they would like us to answer. about
Really?
anything.
Any questions? You're going to answer any question.
Yes, anything.
Okay. This will be interesting. All right. See you when I get classes.